Welcome back. This is SERP 503, Special Services in the Schools, and in this video I'm going to walk you through the syllabus and schedule for the course. So I am Carl Leopson, your instructor, and my phone number is listed. That's actually a phone number. You can reach me anytime with that number. My email is listed there, and the remind option is listed also so that I can text you with updates. This is an asynchronous course, fully online. That means if you want to get in touch with me and meet with me, get hold of me by phone, email, or remind, and we'll set up an appointment. We can definitely set up a time to meet on campus if that's what you want to do, or we can meet through Zoom, or we can do a phone call. I'm really flexible about these things. Course communications will be through UA email or D2L discussion or through posts that I make on the D2L opening page or through Remind, or all three. I'll try to use them to get in contact with you. But understanding how course communications happen is really important. In case I need to make a special announcement for the course, be watching those avenues. So your email, the D2L page, and through Remind. Course description, this is a course mostly designed to aid teachers, but also it's great for anybody who has an interest in working with youth and children with disabilities. And it will absolutely give you a background in federal regulations in special education, the Individuals with Disabilities Improvement Act, the Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act, Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, lots of other legal issues, legal history. You'll learn how to search these documents, find answers to things. You'll learn how to create IEP goals and objectives, and you'll learn about transition plans. It's really a nice course for folks who are heading into special education. It's really a key course. The learning outcomes are listed here in the syllabus. There's no textbook for this course. Everything you need to read, I'll be posting online. So no worries about a textbook. The instructional format, it's a fully online course, and the course material is delivered asynchronously through D2L. That means there's no regular class meetings, no weekly class meetings, although there is a schedule we'll kind of follow, but you'll be able to move at your own pace more or less, and I'll talk more about that when I get to the schedule. There's no actual attendance taken for this course because it's a move at your own pace kind of thing, and it's asynchronous. So really, I know you're engaging in the course if you are taking the quizzes and doing the discussions and the other activities. There are 4 ways we do assessment in this course. One is quizzes. There are 10 quizzes, so there's not a quiz every week, but there are quizzes most weeks. Every quiz is worth 3 points. I will let you know exactly how to meet the objectives for the quiz. There will be and the quizzes will remain open pretty much until you meet them. Okay, so you go in and you look at a week of content, you go and you take the quiz. That will help open up the next week of content. There are 10 discussion posts worth 3 points each. Um, each discussion post, I expect you to create um, your original post that is at least 3 sentences long and to respond to somebody else within your group. So for your discussion groups, I have you in groups of about 6 or 7 people. I think there are a little over 20 people in this course right now, but I didn't want to have one big discussion group. I wanted to have smaller groups so that you could see more posts. So to get full credit for a discussion post, make sure you have an original post of your own, create your own new thread, and it needs to be at least 3 sentences long. Sometimes it's going to be longer because there's a requirement in there for some things we're doing. And also respond to at least one other person's post. Right? So actually D2L, I have it set up so that you can move on to the next week. The next week will magically open up if you complete the assignments for the current week. So for week 1, once you take the quiz and once you are in the discussions and you create an original and you respond to somebody else, week 2 will open up for you. Okay? There are also 2 projects, 2 larger projects. One of them is a teacher, parent, or student interview, and it's worth 30 points. It should be a paper that is 1 to 3 pages, double spaced. And really what I want you to be able to do is to get some personal insight from somebody who is a special education teacher or a gen ed teacher working with special education students, from a parent of a child who is in special education, or if you want to work with an older student who has received special education services, you could interview them. But it's really about getting information from them about how do you operate in this special education environment and what's been difficult or what's been easy. What would you suggest for somebody who's getting into the field? The other project is your personal philosophy of teaching, which is a really important thing to have. Most places, when folks go looking for teaching jobs, will ask you about your personal philosophy of teaching. They might even ask for a written version of it. And so that's what we want to start preparing for you here. We'll take a survey to help you learn more about your inner thoughts about teaching. And then I'll ask you to turn that into a 2 to 3 page double-spaced paper. Those items we'll see where they're due, and they're due, the interview is due halfway through the course, and the personal philosophy is due at the end. So you'll have plenty of time to get those done, and I will talk more about them in later weeks in the course to get you prepared to do those assignments. So here's a list of what is graded in this course. There are 10 weekly quizzes. There are 10 discussions. There is the parent-teacher-student interview. There's the personal philosophy of teaching. Altogether, it's worth 120 points. The letter grades are assigned as they're listed here. And late work, right now I'm not anticipating taking any points off for late work because this is a self-paced course. So some people will work a little bit ahead. Some people may be a little bit behind. That's okay with me. However, if I see you're getting significantly behind, I will absolutely be contacting you, all right, and try to help you keep up with the course. Incomplete grades, I can't assign an incomplete unless you've finished most everything in the course. So let's say somebody's finished most work, but they haven't finished the last 2 weeks of work, something happens, life happens, I understand that. Um, or they don't have one of the major assignments finished. That's when we can consider a grade of incomplete. If you stop at week 5 and can't go any further, then I probably can't assign an incomplete. But we need to have discussions about incompletes as soon as possible. If you think you might need to have an incomplete, get hold of me as soon as possible and we'll work something out. There's a link here that goes to a page about university policies about all sorts of stuff. You may want to check into that if you have questions. And then there is this notice at the bottom that all of this is subject to change. I'll just say, yeah, some things might change in this course along the way. I'm doing a lot of updates to this course this year, but I won't add any requirements. I won't make it more difficult. I just may have to adjust things and some times and some topics along the way. Okay. So now let's jump over to the course schedule and outline. So this lists the university schedule. Classes begin on the 15th. The last day is May 7th. That's when everything in this class needs to be turned in. There's a link to the schedule for the university. Listed here are Martin Luther King Day, which is coming up really soon, the spring recess, and then reading day. There's no expectation you turn on things on those dates, and this schedule works around those. So this is an asynchronous, fully online course. There are no scheduled class meetings, but remember, if you need to meet with me, just get hold of me by phone, email, or text to remind, and we can set something up. So the pacing of this course, I'll explain again. When you go in to the content section, you should only be able to see week 1, right? But as soon as you complete the assessments for week 1, week 2 should open up for you, right? So I'm trying to make sure that everybody moves along, right? Since this is a self-paced class, that way it's easy for you to keep track. So if week 2 doesn't open for you, it's because you haven't done the quiz or turned in the quiz or hit the submit button for the quiz, or that you haven't posted properly in D2L, meaning there should be an original post and a comment on somebody else's post, or I've hit the wrong switch. So if there's ever a problem with the next week opening up for you, get hold of me and we'll figure out why that's not happening, okay? Assignment due dates. Again, I don't have any specific assignment due dates. I am trusting you as graduate students to move along. I would highly recommend that you not get too far behind, because it becomes really hard to get caught up. In terms of topics for the course, this week is an intro. Next week we'll talk about some history and case law for the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. Week 3 is about a really important term in special education called least restrictive environment. Week 4 is about Section 504. Week 5, we'll talk about FERPA guidelines related to special education. Weeks 6, 7, and 8 are all about writing IEPs and IEP goals. Then we come to spring break. Weeks 9 and 10, we look at transition requirements, transition plans when kids age out of school. Then we get to your personal philosophy of teaching. We spend some time talking about that. we'll talk about IEP teams in week 12, then IEDA disciplinary procedures. Week 14, I'm still considering content for that week. I'm pretty sure I'm going to talk about funding in special education. I think it's important that you understand the funding flow in special education. And week 15 is just to wrap it up, bring it all together. And you can see here also that it's during week 5 that the interview is due, and it's the last day of class, May 7th, that the teaching philosophy is due. And each of those things will be explained during an earlier class period. That's everything, folks. So now that you have seen the schedule and the course syllabus, you should be ready to take quiz 1, and you should be ready to go and do discussion 1. Just make sure in the discussion that you create an original post and that you respond to somebody else. And once you take the quiz and you do the discussion post, week 2 should open up for you, and you can move on at your own rate. It's good to be here with you. Contact me if you have any questions.